What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the We'll See You Later podcast, brought to you by Happy's Energy and Nutrition, the best energy on the planet. It is episode 27, and it's Halloween week. Got my pumpkin out. Got my pumpkin. And if you don't know, this isn't Jordan. If you don't have eyes here, this is not Jordan. This is Jordan. Adam. Yeah. Okay, I know Adam from the gym. Adam has requested to be on the show. He would like to talk a little bit of some pig walk, some Arkansas sports, and some other school sports, other teams. So, Adam, I'm going to let you tell the audience who you are a little bit, if you don't mind.
Yeah, I'm Adam, the first. That is who I am. But yeah, I'm a sports guy. You know, I love talking sports. I've done podcasts, like I said, in the past, but you know, hardly do I ever talk about sports for an hour.
Yeah,
I think that's a good thing to do.
It is. It's awesome. It's good for the soul.
I'm excited about it, man. I'm excited to be on the show. Thank you for having me.
Big CrossFitter, of course, man. Of course, big CrossFitter. Trying to make it to the CrossFit Games. Yep. Has made it one step short, pretty much is what you can say, but it's still
pretty much semifinals.
Yeah,
semifinals a couple times. Yeah, it's hard. It's a hard task to do. You know, the older you get, the harder it is. You know, but you know, we're trying. Hey, you got to take a chance on yourself, and that's what I do with CrossFit. So, it's kind of a way for me to get out, and it's kind of like my therapy.
Yeah, for sure.
Golf, you know, things like that. So it's cool.
Golf is my therapy. This is my therapy. I want to say the gym was my therapy, but as I've gotten older, I'm 34 now. I still go, but my titties start looking down more and more. And
yeah.
More. So
yeah, I mean, the gym's so hard because if you don't eat right, you don't look right, and then if you don't work out right, so many things have to be in line in order for you to have a good experience at the gym. And so I mean, if those things aren't aligned right, it's not gonna be good.
Yeah, I'm still mad at the guy who invented Oreos because that's what gets me. I'll eat a whole line. I don't even care.
Yeah,
can't help it. I'm a pizza guy as well.
I'm more of a drinker. Like I have to have like sweet tea. You know, I'm not I'm not like an Oreo or ice cream guy. More of a I want a sweet tea or I want
like a sugary drink.
Yeah, something that's just bad for you, just straight up bad. Mountain Dew in a can.
But again, guys, this is episode 27, first ever guest, Halloween week. We're hopping straight into our pick'ems. Okay, what we call our pick'ems, Adam, is 5 games. I've sent you the games. Okay. We pick winners. We pick an upset top 25 team, which can piggyback that. Yep. We always finish with the Arkansas game because that's what the people are here to see. That's what we're here to talk about. That's what we're here to argue about all the time and debate. So opening game, number 4 Ohio State is -3.5.
Yeah.
Against number 3 Penn State. It's at Penn State. It's not a whiteout game. Stupid as hell. Should have been a night game.
Yeah, that's
it's 11 a.m. kickoff game.
That's crazy.
I don't know how they messed this up. Last week I went 5-1. I lost my upset, but I won every game.
The upsets. I mean, that's the hard one to hit.
Yeah, it's really hard to hit. I did not. I got my butt whooped on it. I picked.
Yeah, who'd you have? Who
UNLV over Boise State.
Okay.
But I did pick, we had Illinois, Oregon. I went with Oregon, Texas over Vandy, Bama over Missouri, A&M over LSU, Notre Dame over Navy, Arkansas over Mississippi State. We hit all of them.
I mean, to be fair, those are all kind of,
yeah, this week I'm not happy.
Those are all kind of easy.
For sure.
Maybe not the A&M one. A lot of people had LSU, was the hardest one. But
yeah, the other ones were pretty simple. This week I have no confidence in anything that I have. I'm picking Ohio State. Just because they're the most expensive team in the country.
And I think that would be the smart pick.
But I want Penn State.
Now, when you say you're picking Ohio State.
Outright.
Outright.
I pick outrights. You can beat spreads if you choose.
See, okay, so let's take a step back here. A little bit about I'm a degenerate gambler.
Same.
I love, and
just
I don't bet big. I don't bet, hundreds of dollars or anything, but I throw a little 20 on something.
Yeah. Bet Saracen?
Yes.
Same.
Oh, yeah.
We need to get sponsored by that because I'm okay. I don't know if I found a cheat code.
I would be okay with that.
Do you believe in superstition and gambling? Or do you think that secrets should be shared?
I'm not superstitious, but I am a little stitious.
Do you think that secrets should be shared or kept when it comes to gambling and possibly picking out winners?
That's a good question. I did not know I was going to get asked that question. I actually think that they should be shared.
Okay. I've got 2 weeks in a row.
Okay.
I don't want to share because now I'm going to fudge it up. But what has happened is I've now noticed, and
you have to share the love a little bit.
I want to, but I'm also scared that the love will run dry if I do.
Okay.
I'm not trying to be a selfish winner. I'd love for everybody else to hit, but I don't want you to get mad at me. I gamble every week something small, like it's $5, $10 bets, and then I do a $10 big bet for the past 2 weeks, and I don't know why I've done this, but on Bet Saracen, you can go up to a 14-team parlay.
Right. And yes, I have been guilty of putting those together.
I have done it for 2 weeks and hit it both.
I've hit it
2 weeks in a row. Now listen to the it's
14-team parlay.
Yeah, twice. I won $120 off of $10, and then I won $75 the next week.
What are you picking?
Here's what I pick, and I think it's very smart. I pick heavy favorites.
Yeah.
10+ point favorites.
Right. Yeah.
And then I select.
That's what I kind of thought.
And then I select one game. That's a pick.
Okay.
And I have hit every week.
Okay.
It's only 2 weeks, but I pick you have to be.
Yeah.
I also have to. I will look at the team if I'm like, even if you're an 11-point favorite. Like I picked Sam Houston State last week, and they played a nobody. They were
FIU, and they beat them by 3.
Right, and they were 21-point favorites.
Under in that game.
They were 21-point favorites.
Yeah.
They won, but that would have fudged up my whole thing. But I pick people that are 15 to 20
Well,
points.
hey, you know what? So let's do this at the end of the show.
I'm already done.
I'm up $46.
I've already done it.
Let's just let's you and I let's look it up.
Yeah.
And I want to put something on. I want to put a little.
I did it already.
Sprinkle a little.
Yeah, I did it already.
Fairy dust on the old 14-teamer.
Yeah, it works. Because you got to. I don't know if I even picked it this time, like a really solid one. But sometimes if the plus is not there, I'll pick a pick 'em. But if the plus is there, I'm going to take it. I think it's a little bit less.
Who was your pick 'em last week?
What do you mean?
Like who was the one team that you
Arkansas.
Oh, okay, that was the.
I picked them and they were not like
heavy favorites.
Yeah, I don't even.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah,
They were 6 point. Yes, I mean.
Yeah, it was within 10. So yeah, 6 points.
When I thought you meant like an A&M LSU kind of a toss up.
I wanted to.
Yeah.
But the plus was fine, and I won $95 off of it. So I was like, I'm good with that.
What'd you have to bet?
I bet 10 on that.
Yeah. Okay.
And then I'll.
It's not a huge return, but at the end of the day, when you're only going to bet $10 to $20,
that's like $80.
You know, yeah. I mean,
so I withdraw my 80, and then I do it again. Like I just keep doing it back and forth. So I try to keep all the profits. But I did do that.
Well, speaking of Ohio State and Penn State, I actually, contrary to popular belief, I like the Penn State plus 3.5. I don't know if they're going to win the game, but I like them plus 2. Here's why. Ohio State last week played who did they
Nebraska.
Play? Nebraska.
And
barely
looked ugly.
Barely got out of it. They've lost to Oregon. I think Oregon is overrated personally.
Who do you have over Oregon?
Well, I think Georgia's the best team in the country.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Georgia. I think the thing about Georgia is, and teams like Georgia, is they will get better throughout the year.
You don't think Oregon will? You think they are who they are?
I think
they've gotten better. Though. They look like crap early.
They have a good quarterback. I think they have a good offense. I think their defense is a little sus. But I will say this about Penn State: their quarterback's out. Is he not?
I think it's a toss up right now.
Okay, so I will hold off on actually betting that.
Yeah. I've got Ohio State too because my friend Emma, who went to Penn State, bleeds Penn State.
Well, you said 2. I got Penn State plus 3.5.
Right.
That's what I would bet right now.
For sure.
You have Ohio State?
Yeah.
Okay.
I texted Emma. And I said,
James Franklin's like what 1-12 against.
He sucks.
Yeah.
But I asked her, "Hey, how we feeling this week?" And she said, "I think Ohio State beats us." If a fan says that and an alum, I'm not going to roll with it. I'm kind of that way with Ole Miss, Arkansas. To be honest with you, I'm going to pick Arkansas, but
Lane Kiffin's not played very well,
right? But then I don't know who we get. But that's game 1.
Okay.
Game 2, which for some reason to me, I'm not saying that it shouldn't be, but like a lot of people are picking South Carolina to beat A&M.
Okay.
A&M number 10, laying 2.5. I don't know, like they're 2.5 is wild to me.
Yeah.
South Carolina hasn't looked great.
Yeah.
They're 3-4, something like that. Rocket Sanders is okay.
Well,
the quarterbacks toss up, and they compete with people. They probably should have beat LSU, to be honest with you.
They should have beat LSU. They lost to Ole Miss pretty bad, 27-3. And they beat Oklahoma.
I'm just really confused on this. Why A&M is not proven, even though last week with LSU, the second half looked crazy. New quarterback freshman, is his last name Reed for A&M. freshman
Yes.
kid.
Very good.
Very good in the second half. Arkansas got to see him at his first game, and I think that's why they didn't do a lot of damage and we were able to hold him. As he's growing, you can see that he's actually becoming a pretty solid quarterback. I don't know who's starting. They haven't really discussed that.
Yeah. I don't think it matters too much for A&M. Their defense is what I think keeps them in football games.
100%.
But South Carolina getting 2.5, I think you'll see that number go up to 3.5 by the end of, or by the start of the game.
I still think, I mean, it's an evening game. I still think A&M kind of runs away. I think it's like a 6.
Okay, so night game at South Carolina.
That's the
here's the thing. I always go, when I look at stuff like that, I always go back to who they played before the previous week. A&M coming off a big win versus LSU, a very emotional win. You know, you have to maybe think they come out a little sluggish, maybe. I mean,
but we thought that with LSU and Arkansas.
Yeah.
And that was a perfect spot for us.
Yep.
And we laid an egg at home on homecoming. And that's where I'm like, I don't know if I trust South Carolina because the South Carolina I've watched hasn't looked great.
Yeah.
I just feel like they stay in a game.
I think, yeah, you're right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think
I can see it being close. I
do too.
I just for a little bit.
I still think that A&M wins by double digits. But I think that A&M they also are number 1 in the SEC. And for them to roll the table, like they have to go into Texas undefeated.
Yeah.
And that's going to be the game of the year for everybody. For the SEC is A&M and Texas.
Don't get me started on Texas.
But I just don't know if they're going to lose another one. Like I don't think Texas is going to lose till they get to A&M, and then we have the fight.
They're going to lose against them Hogs, baby.
Maybe that would be incredible.
I will say the last 3-4 times we've played Texas, we've been it's close.
It depends on what team shows up.
And I actually would rather Quinn start against us than Manning. I think Arch Manning's ceiling is a little bit higher than Quinn.
I do too.
I think Quinn's in his head right now.
I think Quinn's little too. He's a little dude.
Quinn's in his head right now.
You just put your hand up. You can block his pass almost every time.
I would rather him start versus us. How about Arkansas getting? Can I rant for just a second?
Sure.
Arkansas getting back-to-back 11 a.m. games,
and possibly a third. You know, next week's 11 too.
Yeah.
And then possibly because we have Louisiana Tech.
So it'd be Mississippi State.
Mm-hmm.
So it would. Are you saying it's going to be 3 or
it already is 3? It could be 4. So we have.
Dude, that's
so we had Mississippi State is like 11:45. Weird. This week is 11.
Yeah.
Next week is 11.
Next week being 11 is crazy
with Texas. It should change if we do win because we'll probably be ranked 6-3.
Yeah.
I think we would be ranked at that point.
Should be.
We would beat another top 25 team.
Yeah.
I don't know why we wouldn't be ranked. But then the next week after that is Louisiana Tech.
Yeah.
And they're terrible. We could draw another 11. We could get 4 11 a.m.s in a row.
Yeah. That's going to be homecoming. I don't know if that's going to be, but it doesn't matter. I don't care if it's 11, 2:30. Have we?
Yeah.
I don't care if I don't care if Tech is 11, 2:36. Doesn't matter. It's Tech. It's Louisiana Tech.
Yeah.
I don't care. We don't give them the 11. Let's have Texas at 6.
Yes.
Or at least 2:30.
Yes. 100%.
That's ridiculous to me.
100%.
And I after we go on through this here, I want to talk about LSU schedule and I want to talk about Texas for just a second for anybody who's going to watch
rant
this.
time.
I don't talk about it now, but I do.
Well, you want to bring it up?
Yeah, I want to bring it up at some point.
Okay, yeah. We'll go after the picks. Okay, so I'm going A&M.
Okay,
outright. I think they run away with it a little late. I think 10 to 14 here for me. 2-possession game for sure.
So it's funny because that was my upset pick.
South Carolina?
Yeah. That's going to
win it outright?
To win it outright. That's going to be my upset pick. And I actually have one more that I don't know. I'm going to sprinkle in there. It's not my favorite. I wouldn't bet on it, but I just wouldn't be totally surprised. And we'll get to that one here when we get to it. But so we're split right now. So you have A&M winning outright. I have South Carolina. You have Ohio State.
And you have Penn State. Well, you just have Penn State against the spread.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Right. So we're split.
Yeah.
Can we agree on one?
I don't know. Number 18 Pitt, undefeated. I don't know. The rankings blow my mind. I'm not saying Pitt is deserving, but I believe Pitt should be ranked a lot higher than what they are.
Agreed.
Their schedule is not great.
How about them getting 7.5?
SMU at home, number 20, getting 7.5 against the 18, the better. This could be your upset.
Pitt's getting 7.5, which is again, crazy to me.
But I think it's going to drop down to probably 6.5 after the week's
I
up.
might have to take a pause and bet a little hundy on that one.
I do think SMU is the better team. They just played Duke, beat them by 1 in overtime. Can you guess how many? Can you guess how many turnovers they had? 6. And you went to an SEC school and you still win, and you look like dog shit. Like 100%. I think if SMU cannot turn the ball over, they should run away with this. I don't think that Pitt has the weapons. I do like Pitt. I wouldn't be surprised if this stays a little bit closer than people think, but I just think SMU does find a way to win the game. I don't know about the spread. I think the spread's a little wild.
I would not be surprised if Pitt won.
Me neither.
I'm definitely going to take that 7.5. If it stays at 7.5 for Pitt,
yeah,
I'm gonna say.
I just don't know if Pitt can score. That's the problem with me. Is Pitt has a problem putting points on the board. SMU put up 28 with 6 turnovers. If you equivalent, normally you do per turnover is like 3.5 points. That's like a 20-point win if they don't have those turnovers. It's just going to come down to, are you going to turn those over or not? I'm banking SMU not to do that again and look stupid. So you're going to go point side.
I'm going to go point.
I'm picking outrights. That's what I roll on outrights. Some are easy, some are not.
So I'll do this for the fun of it. I'm going to have Penn State winning outright, South Carolina winning outright as my upset of the week.
Okay.
And then I'm going to have Pitt.
We have not agreed yet.
We have not.
No.
I'm going to have Pitt winning.
Okay. Game 4. I have laying 3, Minnesota. You're probably picking Illinois. Minnesota versus number 24, Illinois.
Yeah.
I'm rolling with Minnesota. I think Illinois, as much as I've been on the Fighting Brett Bielema's, watching them the past 2 or 3 weeks, they've looked bad. They can't move the ball. Oregon waxed Illinois. I know it's at Oregon, and this is at Illinois. It's a different team at home. They've struggled the last 3 or 4 weeks to win or to be in a game. They beat a Michigan team 21-7. Michigan can't run the ball, can't throw the ball. They have no offense. I thought they should have scored, 28-35, and then I would have been a lot more happy. But people that are playing Michigan that are good are dominating Michigan. You scored late to make it 21-7 with like 3 minutes left. I just don't think Illinois has enough. I think that the Gophers actually are a really good team. Their schedule's pretty solid. Their losses are to top 25s. I like Minnesota to win this game. I still am not betting any of these games because these literally are flips. Like, they're not safe bets if you're going to bet them. I'm going to say that you're going to go the other way around.
I am actually going to go Illinois. On the way over here, I was thinking, like, why are we getting 3 points there? Illinois.
I think
I like Illinois. I think, again, coming off that loss to Oregon, if I'm the coach, if I'm a player, I'm saying, hey, that was embarrassing.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go out here at home. I'm sure it's either
night game.
Yeah, it's a night game. Homecoming. I'm sure it's something, senior night. I don't know, but it's something big. It's a big game regardless. And they're getting 3 points. Give me that all day. I love the home teams here. Penn State, South Carolina, Illinois, all at home. And I think you have to take those things into consideration. But I do like Illinois +3. I think they win the game outright. So I think the next one we can agree.
I want it to happen, but I don't know. You get the pit in your stomach.
Yeah.
And that's what I have right now because of what Illinois.
I love that you pick. There's so many more. There's other games out there, but these really are the marquee games.
I try to keep it as close as we can. We try to stay ranked, but some of them, if they're just a solid game, like the Navy-Army game, like we sprinkle those in there.
Army's solid this year.
Your upset, since we're going to go into upsets, is already on the board. South Carolina over A&M. Right.
I do have another one, but yes.
I have a wild one.
Yeah.
That is 10.5-point dogs that I think is actually a really good team in Louisville.
Okay.
I don't know if Clemson's good because Clemson has not, to me, played anyone that has been solid, and they haven't. I mean, they've blown out some people, but for most part, their games are semi-close. Everybody's on this whole Clemson's back thing.
Yeah.
Louisville has lost to 3 ranked teams, Notre Dame, Miami, and they've lost both of those by 1 possession, and both of those teams right now are playoff teams.
So you're saying that Louisville's going to win
the whole damn
game?
game.
At Clemson. That's That's I think Clemson. I think Clemson's a good team.
Same.
I think they're fine. They're one of those teams just like Georgia. They will get better throughout the year because of their coach, because of their culture. Clemson, yeah. And I actually have them, making the playoffs. And I don't know what you see there, but
I'll tell you,
I respect it.
I'll tell you. Louisville plays in these tight ass games.
Yeah.
I'm talking like every game is close.
Yeah.
Louisville has lost by 7 to Notre Dame, who's a playoff team right now. They've lost by 7.
Overrated, but yeah.
They've lost by 7 to Miami, who's a playoff team right now.
Overrated as well, but yes.
And then they've lost by 7 to SMU.
Okay.
They're in every game.
Right.
And they score. They put up points. It's not like a 14-7 loss here. They're normally 35-28.
Yeah.
Shoot, against Miami, they lost 45-52.
Yep.
They're going to score. Clemson beats Virginia, beats Wake Forest, beats Florida State.
Read me their last 4 games.
Who's?
Clemson.
Virginia.
Was
48-31.
Okay. 48-31.
Wake Forest, 49-14. Florida State, 29-13. Stanford, 40-14. To me, though, I get their schedule.
They're not playing.
The only team they've played is Georgia. And I get it was week 1, and we can't base off week 1 to now.
Yeah.
But you haven't played anyone.
Yeah.
That's been anything. The bottom of your schedule is the hard part for Clemson. Yeah. You have them in the playoffs. They've got to get through Louisville. Then they have a Virginia Tech team who's pretty decent. Then they have Pitt. Then they have, at the end of the season, South Carolina. Like, the strong meat of their schedule is the end.
Yeah.
This is step 1 to me, and I think Clemson sometimes gets a big head.
Yeah.
It's a night game.
I respect it.
It's a night game. I think that Louisville's going to actually be an offense. Louisville's going to score. I think laying 10.5 is crazy. I think it should have been about 8, maybe 7.5. I just think that Louisville keeps this close.
Yeah.
All their losses are by 7 or less.
Okay.
So I think it comes down to the end. And for some reason, I'm trusting a Cardinal to pull off a last-second field goal, last-second touchdown, or a big turnover against Clemson. I just don't think they've been pressured yet, and I think they get it. Louisville has been pressured, has been battle-tested, and have come up short quite a few times, but they're right there.
Yeah.
And they've got to eventually break through the wall, and I think this is the week to do it.
Well, good opportunity for them. Very good.
And 10.5 to me is crazy. Yeah. I think people just jump on that it's Clemson, and you automatically think national championship. Yeah. We're far from that.
Right.
They're not that guy. They're not.
Not that guy.
They've already played that guy that you think is Georgia, and look what happened.
If we're going to talk about upsets, so you obviously South Carolina, I have. Yep. That's going to be my upset of the week.
What is the sprinkled?
My crazy one, and maybe we look back next week and say this is silly, dude. I think Florida can hang with Georgia for a little bit. I don't know if they're going to win, but I think.
It's at Florida too, right?
Well, it's always in.
Oh, it's neutral.
Yeah, it's always neutral. That game to me, obviously, it's a rivalry game, and Billy Napier, Florida's had a tough schedule.
They have.
Billy Napier, I think he needs a win to stay the head coach at Florida. But Georgia coming off a bye, they come off a good win at Texas. They're coming off a bye. I can see them sleepwalking through the first couple quarters. And maybe coming into the fourth quarter, it's close. The DJ Lagway kid from Florida, I think he's going to be very special. I don't know if he's even going to start. I think he is, but yeah. I mean, I look at Florida's schedule. They're 4-3. I can see them hanging with Georgia.
Yeah,
I don't know if they win.
Have they been blown out this year?
They lost to Tennessee in overtime. They beat. Let's see. They got blown out by Miami week 1. That would be
again. It's hard to
they
do
beat
week
Kentucky last week.
Kentucky's
beat UCF. Beat Mississippi State. Lost to A&M by 13. I mean, look,
they're kind of sporadic.
They are sporadic, but
they don't have an offense.
I want to say that they're honestly like Arkansas. Their defense isn't bad. They will get timely stops, but their offense is very sporadic.
Yeah, that's like the entire SEC.
Yeah.
I don't know if any SEC school where you're like
turnovers. The couple games I've watched them, it's the turnovers. I watched the Tennessee game. They got down to the red zone 3 or 4 times and came away with 0 points. That's Arkansas
Can't have
in
it.
a nutshell.
And Unless you're
Well, yeah,
watching Arkansas last
I'm
week.
going to call it here. Florida hangs with Georgia. I don't know if they win.
You
but
can't call it an upset if they don't win.
It could be close. I wouldn't be surprised.
They beat the spread. But if we're picking an upset, it's got to be a win.
Won. Wouldn't be surprised.
I don't think Georgia they have to know that if they lose again, they're in trouble.
Oh, yeah.
So that I think Georgia can't sleepwalk. I think they kind of sleptwalk first half against
and
Alabama.
Smart.
And Kirby Smart is smart. And literally, when they went to Texas, no one, I mean, people were. I picked Texas just because of what I had seen, and they had been the most complete team. They dominated Texas top to bottom.
Overrated.
The refs tried their best. The refs tried their best to make it look better than it was because Georgia could have hung 50 on them. And there were penalties that were BS. They were giving Texas everything they could just to make it look close.
Yep.
The 30-15
Even
is
Kirby
nothing.
Smart said that, which is kind of crazy. You never hear a coach say that.
Never. And if a coach says that, you've got to listen and go back and watch that. There was so much bull crap. It should have been 45-10, but they made it 30-15.
Four. Who's your 4 best teams right now
in the country?
Like, give me your these 4 teams are going to be there at the end of the year.
Oh, Oregon.
Okay.
As of now.
Okay.
4 teams that are going to be there.
Like you would bet some, if you had to bet it, you'd bet some serious money.
None of them. I just think this year's the most fun.
Yeah, I agree.
Oregon, I think Ohio State, you have to just because of the athletes and the team that they have. Yeah. I think if you put Oregon at Ohio State wins the game.
Right.
I think you put them on a neutral field. I think Ohio State wins the game. I think Oregon home had a lot to do with that win, and it was a 1-point win.
Yep.
Bad decision by a quarterback on a last play there. Georgia. And then I think 4 could literally be a toss-up. I think you have 3 studs, and then you have 4 great. Like number 4 would be great, but I don't think 4 beats 3, 2, or 1.
Yeah,
and that's even saying it because Bama did win. But if you threw Bama in there, they just look weird. Bama looks real.
I'm gonna go. I actually agree with your top 3.
I don't know who I would put it for. You can't put Texas there.
I think if Penn State wins this weekend,
then you got to drop out Ohio State.
Yeah, then you go Penn State. But Oregon, I think they're slightly overrated. But you have to give it to them. You know, you have. They've beaten Boise State. They've beaten Ohio State. You got to give it to them. I mean, they're there. I think Georgia's there. Penn State could be there, but I'm going to say a 4th team that maybe not too many people are talking about, and I think it's the Tennessee Volunteers. I actually think that their defense is legit.
I do too. I just think that if their offense sputters, then you can put that with anybody. Because then in that same category, to me, A&M could be in that.
Yeah,
A&M's defense is phenomenal, but it's what are you going to get?
This is definitely the most fun year of college football I can remember.
Absolutely. I think what Arkansas did, which we're the first to do it and not the last. Nico is a freshman.
Yeah.
And we made him a freshman.
Right.
Like you make him make decisions that he doesn't like. He's still a freak athlete. If he decides to stay for another year, the kid next year, Tennessee's, you have to be careful.
Yeah.
But I would throw Tennessee in there because of what they have, but they also don't have a lot of big play for some reason. Like they don't make big plays. Big plays are what's going to win a game.
Previous years, you would say that they do, but
yeah. I mean, because I think A&M could be in that. I don't know. I guess you could throw Miami in there.
We could have beaten both of them.
Like that's also, I guess that'd be my 4th team would be Miami right now. I'm not confident. I don't think Miami wins either against the other 3.
Yeah. But this is what you want.
Yes.
You don't. I don't want to see a Georgia just dominate.
No, but here's the crazy part is in like 2 or 3 years, whenever they decide, the SEC decides if they want to stay in this, they can back out. And that's scary because what's going to happen this year, 100%, no doubt about it. The SEC beats the hell out of each other.
Yeah.
And normally one team makes it for sure. And then you have a fringe 2 and 3 team. We have 4 to 5 teams that could be in the playoffs.
I could argue we have probably more, but yeah, I agree.
Whenever it comes down to choosing, let's say there's 3 SEC schools that make it. Let's say Georgia, let's say Bama, let's say we throw either Texas or A&M somehow makes it in there because they've won it all. So you have a 1-loss Georgia, who might be the champion. You have a 1-loss or 2-loss A&M, a 1 or 2-loss. You have Bama. Then you have like a 2-loss Texas sitting there. And then you have a 1-loss Pitt. You're going to put in another SEC school.
Well, how do they do it?
I don't know.
I think so. They go.
Champions are first four.
Champions are first four.
Yeah. So Big 12,
Big 10,
ACC, Big 10, SEC champs are the 1 through 4s. Then there's the fifth champ as well. The fifth champ of like a smaller conference will get in.
Power 5.
And then from there, they'll pick out. But it's like whenever you get to that 11 or 12 seed and you have a 2 or 3 loss Ole Miss, or you have a 2 or 3 loss Tennessee, do they get in? Because you know for damn well if Pitt, a 1 or 2 loss Pitt, played a 3 loss Tennessee, Tennessee waxes them.
I think we see. So this week, I'm pretty sure after this week, they come out with the 12-team playoff for the first time, 12 teams playoff format, and I think it'll be interesting to see what they do as far as are they going to have like you said an 8-1 SMU? Are they going to have them over a 6-2 Bama? That's going to be interesting to see.
Is it going to happen? Because the ranking in front of your name does not matter in these polls,
right?
Because like if you're number 12 in the country, but you win the Big 12. You're gonna be number 4, 3, or 2, or 1 in the bracket.
Yeah,
that's gonna be confusing to people, but those slots are allotted for the champions for a reason.
Who's your team that you think could be atop of the mountain in the year that you maybe not like a Georgia or Ohio State? What's that one team you like? Man, maybe they could do it.
Like sneak in or win.
Sneak in and do some damage. I'm gonna say I think Indiana.
Army.
Okay.
I like Army.
You like Army? I mean, I like it too, but I think Indiana, dude.
I think Indiana can score. I just don't think they can stop anybody.
That coach is what I want for a coach. I love Pittman, but that dude's a winner, and he brings a winning culture to.
Well, Pittman's not getting fired. Sorry.
No.
Unless we lose out.
Yeah. 5-3, yeah.
So we're going to go into the big game of the week for us. If you can't tell, we're Arkansas fans here.
Let's go.
So we're picking number 19, Ole Miss, laying 7 at Arkansas, 11 a.m. kickoff. I think we get a sleepy Ole Miss. I think that we get an Ole Miss team that did not look good against Oklahoma, and Oklahoma looks terrible to me. Their defense is okay, but they're on the field way too much. Their offense, they can't move the ball. They were down at halftime 13-6, 7. Doesn't matter. They only scored once. Then they had to go on late to do something crazy. It really comes down to Dart. Actually, Dart, all he really did on big playability is he scrambled. If we've shut down Nico, we can shut down Dart.
Yeah.
I think we can make some mistakes.
And I think their offenses are similar to Tennessee and Ole Miss.
Very much. I think that they have all the opportunity in the world to beat us by 10. They haven't done that all year. They're a weird team that we all thought was going to be so much better based off. They have the number 1 recruiting class in the country.
That's crazy. And
they just don't look like a complete team yet. We thought the same with LSU, and LSU waxed us. I see us winning this game just because, one, I hate Ole Miss, and half my family that I'm about to have inherited are Ole Miss fans. But I want to believe in the team I saw last week, and I think that for Arkansas, you can't look backwards to really see where you're going to go, because then we'll trip when it comes to what we've done, because we're a week-to-week team. I just think that Taylor Green is getting so much better each week. I don't know what happened to the LSU game, other than as a whole, we did not show up, which happens every year. We have one game a year.
Yeah, we have one game where we're like, whoa, what is that? And then we also have one game where, like a Tennessee, you come out and we're like, we look like the best team in the country.
And to me, against Tennessee, we didn't even look good.
Offensively, no, we did not. Yeah.
Defensively, we looked great.
Yeah.
Mississippi State, that game was I don't care. That game, we scored at will. Yeah. We ran at will. Defensively looked pretty decent at times. That's something that's getting me with T-Will is we're so high on him. The past 2 weeks, we've been allowing a lot. You're right there.
Yeah, I'm
too far away.
Too far away.
You can also just hold it if you want to hold it.
Hold it like
there
this.
You go. Yeah.
Karaoke.
There you go. Yeah.
I'm with you on this one, man. I think it depends on what Arkansas team shows up. First of all, as you know, watching games and knowing ball, there's always a different Arkansas team that shows up. If
Every
the
time.
one that played against Tennessee shows up, that's great. I think if the one that plays against A&M shows up, we have a chance.
Mhm.
But if the one that shows up against LSU, here's what
That's
I
the
think.
only team that can't show up.
That's the one game. I'm with you. I think Ole Miss has had a favorable schedule, and they dropped that game against Kentucky. I know that wasn't on their agenda. But
who else they lose to? LSU.
Yeah. Last second LSU.
LSU was never winning in that game until that.
Yep.
They were losing the entire game.
That's right.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I have an idea about what happened against LSU. I think LSU was going to be able to either pass the ball at will or run the ball at will, and as our defense, we said, hey, you're going to run the ball. You're not going to pass the ball against us. Like, we're going to give you these dink and dunks all night, but you're not going to throw it over the top. So the LSU said, okay, if you're going to bring in,
took them.
Well, they play with three corners. We played with three corners on the field against LSU, and so that allowed LSU to run the ball, and they did. They ran for 200 on us. So
I think that LSU was patient enough to allow that.
Right. Yeah.
Overtime, for some reason,
at the end of the day, though, we had the ball in the third quarter, down by 6,
and threw the weirdest interception.
And do a tip ball. Our quarterback's 6'6", and he somehow gets a tip ball, and that's just that's the Razorbacks. But I can see us winning by 10. I can see us losing by 10. I really can,
for sure.
Lane Kiffin, things we do know, Lane Kiffin has a hard time playing in Fayetteville. He's never won in Fayetteville.
Yeah,
never won in Fayetteville, and we always play Ole Miss really good. I think it'll be interesting. So
so if we're gonna pick this,
I will be there.
Gotta leave early.
Yeah, well, we're going up Friday night.
There you go. Where are you going to eat?
We don't know yet. Any suggestions?
Catfish Hope.
Okay.
Are you a catfish guy?
I'm not a fried food guy.
Okay, never mind.
But
not a fried food guy.
I'm not a fried food. I'm more of a barbecue, ribs.
I think there's a barbecue spot downtown.
It's got to be.
Oh yeah,
it's Fayetteville. Got to be, man.
If you're gonna pick a final here, if we're gonna just do a weird prediction,
let's do it.
What would be a score that you would like to see, or you think could happen?
Well, I think if we win the game, it's going to be a below 30. I don't think our offense, when we play good teams, for some reason, we play A&M 17, Tennessee 19, LSU 10. When we play these good teams, we can't score.
Yeah.
So I think our defense is going to have to show up. I'm going to have us. I'm going to say 26-23 Arkansas. That's my hope. It's going to be something like that. I think if it gets above 30, we lose.
28-24 Hogs.
Okay.
28-24. We win the damn game. Calling it now.
The 7 is crazy. I mean, that take my feelings out of it, biased or unbiased. The 7 to me is nuts.
I don't know, but I think this is going to be either a dogfight. The part that scares me is this: if the Arkansas doesn't show up, this is an ass whooping.
Well, we have to win the turnover battle
for sure, or hang in there. We don't necessarily have to win it.
Timely turnovers for us.
If we can break even, I think we can beat anybody.
Yeah.
Winning the turnover battle for sure.
It's to me, it's the turnovers that we have that are so they're in the opponent's red area.
Yeah.
Or we're backed up.
Yep.
And it's like,
or it's a big momentum
we did
shifter.
That against A&M. We had a turnover at our own 10-yard line. We fumbled the ball. Yeah. And that was the turning point in the game.
Oklahoma State.
Kicked LSU last week or a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Last week
all
LSU.
Those games that we've lost or has come down to a significant turnover.
Crazy.
A significant turnover. LSU was in the red zone. Oklahoma State scored in 2 plays off the punt that we ran into our own guy.
Yeah.
A&M, same thing on their side, scored quickly. We can't have that. All right, we have a rant.
Let me talk about Texas.
We have a rant from Adam that he wants to talk about. I'm sure a lot of you guys would love to hear about it.
Yeah,
because this pertains to scheduling and how he is not a fan.
We'll keep it short and sweet. I know you guys don't really care about Texas because I don't either, or their schedule. But I do want to note something, okay? Texas's SEC schedule, and this is not a joke, okay? Mississippi State, Oklahoma, which is not
trash.
Oklahoma. I don't consider an SEC school yet. Right?
They're a bottom level.
I mean, true, but they were going to play. Texas was going to play Oklahoma no matter what. SEC
right,
or
but
Big
I'm
12.
just saying that they're not battle tested at all.
Georgia, very good, very good at home, but Georgia
they lost. I guess.
Vanderbilt, Florida, Arkansas. Let's be real, not bottom. Okay, Kentucky, and then A&M. Now, I want you to notice something really quick. Arkansas schedule, okay? SEC schedule.
It's a gauntlet.
Auburn, bottom. A&M, Tennessee, LSU, Mississippi State, Ole Miss, Texas, Missouri. Now, I want to ask the audience, you, whoever, how is that fair? How is that even remotely fair?
I think it really just depends.
It's not. I'll tell you, it's not. Texas gets that perennial treatment, just like LSU getting so many night games. Have you seen that Lane Kiffin thing? Lane Kiffin went off yesterday in his press conference about LSU and how they're getting so many night games this year.
Because of Death Valley.
Because of Death Valley or whatever. This is like their third or fourth night game in a row.
We don't get those.
We have 3 or 4 in a row.
No, we have to get a night game like that. It's
we have
because
to be good.
No. It's because the other team's good. Like Tennessee is a night game just because it was Tennessee on the road for the first time and Arkansas's fringe.
LSU and Texas, to me, always get this treatment from SEC, from NCAA that nobody else gets.
What blows my mind
my rant.
is I thought that the SEC was going to – they've been not saying super biased, but when it comes to the SEC of old, for Georgia and Bama, those two teams that you have to play on the other side of the conference,
right,
were always tic-tacs.
Yep.
Like whenever the COVID year happened, and they erased that you weren't playing out of your conference, which was so weird to me that I could go play a game and get COVID tested, but I could only play in my conference.
Yeah.
Where they added the two teams, you only had a 10 season thing, 10 win. We got Florida and Georgia.
Yeah. I'm telling you, man,
Georgia,
Arkansas always gets screwed.
Like Bama, I think, got Vandy and Kentucky.
Yeah.
And we got Georgia and Florida.
At Florida.
It was what the hell moment.
I can't remember the last time we played Kentucky and Vanderbilt in the same year.
I don't know if it's ever happened.
I don't even know. In Texas, their first year in the SEC, not only gets Kentucky and Vanderbilt, but also gets Mississippi State.
Whose ass? And then they get Oklahoma. Whose ass?
I mean,
I don't know why you were inherited into this. The only reason that Oklahoma is in the SEC, in my opinion, is because Texas said they should come with them.
Thank you.
Because we wanted Texas only. We didn't care about nobody else.
We couldn't just go get one anyway. We had to get 2.
But I'd rather have gotten Texas and like Miami or Texas and Florida State. Texas and
Clemson. Yeah, that would be good.
That's okay. So your rant is that.
That's my rant of the day, of the week, of the year.
My bold prediction is I truly believe that the SEC is going to break away from the NCAA.
Wow.
In the future. I don't know how far down the line. How much money do you think the SEC is pulling in right now?
Oh,
so much. This is all the SEC has to do. We don't like the playoff system. We think that 4 or 5 of our schools are definitely better.
That's a very bold prediction.
I know. We think that we have the best football in the country, and I believe the SEC does.
Yeah.
All the SEC has to do, I mean, they could break away whenever they want to be honest. If they go get 3 or 4 teams, nobody's going to watch anything else. Coach Prime's going to get old after this year, not hating on him. Son's gone. Travis is gone. He might be gone.
Yeah, that's true.
No one knows with his contract, but he might be gone. So that's the only thing that people are watching on the West Coast. To be honest, let's be real, is Colorado because of that. They have crazy talent. If the SEC said, you know what, we're going to do our own league. What do we have, 16? So we're, to me, 4 teams short of a league. 20-team league, 100% could happen. Just play within each other, sign up some small schools that play a non-conference game. We'll co-mingle. We can split it 10 and 10, or we can just do straight up in the league. You add 4 teams.
It's a bold take. But if it happens, we're going to come back to this video.
Yeah.
And we're going to post this.
4 freaking teams, all you need. I think you can take a Miami, a Clemson, a Ohio State, and an Oregon.
Well, I think it's important to note, too, that we're going to see how this 12-team playoff works, okay?
They're going to change it somehow.
And they could add teams. I never agreed with 4, and I never agreed with 12. To me, it's weird numbers. Let's just say, hey, instead of playing 12-week schedule, 12 weeks in the year, okay? It's actually 14 because you get 2 byes.
You do get 2.
Instead of doing that, let's make it a 16-team playoff, and let's do a 10-week schedule with 1 bye. 16-team playoff. Why are we doing,
what would be your criteria?
Well, I think the champs get in for sure of every conference. And I even think the conference runner-ups get in, in a way.
The hard part, I think, is the smaller schools. I just think that they're always going to have this problem no matter what they do.
Well,
you're going to have a one-loss, but you're going to have a one-loss Army who has done everything you've asked, and they've lost the one game that they against Notre Dame. They got pummeled, but they've done great all year other than the one game.
Yeah.
And then you're going to have a 3-loss Ole Miss who kind of looks good, and then they look like shit.
Yeah.
But they would beat that Navy team 10 times out of 10.
Yep.
But do you show the love? This is like the fairest tournament you can say, and even people will say it's unfair, is the NCAA basketball tournament.
To me, it's NFL.
It's like it's not fair, but it is fair. Well, I'm saying for the bigness. The NFL's 32, 32 teams.
32 teams.
For 130 schools, you either have to have different tournaments that people are playing for, national championships, or you have to give these small schools their shot.
Yeah.
The NCAA basketball tournament, whether we like it or not, there are teams that probably should get in. They even run into that situation to where they have this team could be a 9 seed, but we need to get this smaller school in.
Every year, there's teams that don't get in.
Yeah, there's a first 4 out that are close.
They should have made it.
Yeah.
That's just part of it.
That is part of it. But I just think
I'm saying
the guy's got to have his shot, and that will always be an argument. They have to get rewarded. The 16 seed, there's only one team that's ever done it that's beaten a number 1 team. Getting in the tournament is their reward.
So here's my thing with the 16-team playoff for college football. My argument to those smaller schools would be, yes, you do have to go undefeated, or yes, you do have to win that one game. But if you can't be in the top 16, then you don't deserve to be in there anyway.
I think that the rankings are bullcrap too.
Sometimes they can be, but if you look at the top state, if you can't, I understand you lost to Oregon. That's fine. That's a good loss. But if you can't win out, then you don't deserve to be in the top 16 anyway.
My question is this. If we're going to, so you're just going to pick top 16s? Do you think that all the best teams are in the top 16?
No, I don't. I don't think the best teams are in the top 16.
That's the problem too. Is I think whoever's running the rankings don't really have them ranked correctly. Like you can't tell me that Pitt is 18th overall right now, being undefeated. I don't care.
Is there a 2-loss team that's ahead of Pitt?
Yes, LSU.
Yeah,
Alabama.
No, LSU. There's that treatment. Alabama. Yeah. I mean,
and there's
still a lot of ball left. Still a lot of ball. And I think if Pitt's 12-0 and LSU is 10-2, I don't think there's any way that they can say, Pitt, you're still going to be out, and LSU, you're in. That's not right.
They can't do it. And if they do that, then that's
7-0. Sure, 7-0.
Yeah.
Early in the year still, whatever.
All right. Can you give me a team that is going to make the playoffs in your mind on the back end for sure? But I want you to pick a team that you're going to bold predict. I think they make the playoffs.
Indiana.
I think Colorado. I don't like them. I'm not here. I'm not on the Dion trip.
Yeah.
They're 2 losses.
Yeah.
They're very much in the fight. They're clicking to me.
Let me say this about Indiana really quick. Indiana has not trailed for 1 second this year. Not 1 second, okay? Also, Indiana has not allowed a single point in the first quarter of any game.
Who they play?
But I know Indiana hasn't played anybody, and that's a fair argument.
I'm not here to argue. I just want to know who they played to know
Well, I mean,
No
it's
shit.
nobody. They've played Nebraska, but
And waxed them.
But they've done everything they've needed to do to win these games. The way you would want them to win the games is the way they've won the games. You want them to blow out. They've not had a close game all year long.
Still good. If they lose,
defense.
They lose a game, they can't get in.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Well, wait.
Well, if they lose to Ohio State.
Question. Let's say they lose to Ohio State. Ohio State. This is where it gets. This is where they'll get screwed. Ohio State then goes to beat Oregon in the championship game. Ohio State and Oregon would get in, and Indiana wouldn't.
Yeah.
But then timeout. Let's say this. This is where the favoritism is or isn't. Ohio State beats Indiana. Call it, right? Okay. Indiana goes 11-1. Ohio State goes and loses again to Oregon and drops to 10-2.
Yep.
Does the 2-loss team that lost to the number 1 team get in over the 1 loss because the tiebreaker does go to the 2-loss?
I would say you question. Cannot be punished for playing in your conference championship game.
So you think a 2-loss?
I think a 2-loss to Ohio State.
I don't think that's true. I don't think you can do that. I don't think you can say you can't be punished for losing it because you can be rewarded for winning it.
Well, I think that can be true just because Ohio State, first of all, it would depend on how they beat Indiana. I think that matters too.
And how they lose?
And how they lose to Oregon, yeah, I think that. But let's say they beat Indiana, they lose to Oregon, and they're both close, okay? They barely beat Indiana, they barely lose. So do you put
the 2-loss
I put Ohio State in, yes, because they beat Indiana. I mean, I think
but they beat them once and they lost twice to the number 1.
Yeah, but I
think that's where the arguments are going to be crazy.
I think we've probably had a scenario like that, but I saw something today, this scenario, that Oregon could be undefeated at the end of the year and still left out of the Big Ten championship game.
How's that possible?
Because if Oregon wins out, right? If Penn State beats Ohio State and Indiana beats Penn State or beats Ohio State, so Penn State beats Ohio State, Indiana beats Ohio State, you have to go to tiebreaker. Okay? So the tiebreaker would be how bad you beat Ohio State.
Oh, they only beat them by 1.
And Oregon only beat them by 1. So if Penn State beats them by 3 and Indiana beats them by 3, well,
does Penn State play Oregon?
Penn State does not play Oregon, no. But Indiana doesn't play Penn State.
They talked about this. Oregon. They talked about this online.
So at the end of the year, Oregon can be sitting at number 1, undefeated, right?
And not get in.
And not get into the Big Ten championship. And that would be good for them.
But it wouldn't be. It wouldn't be because they would not.
Game they wouldn't have to play.
But they wouldn't be a top 4.
That is true.
They would not get a bye.
That is true.
They would have to play a play-in.
It is possible. It's not.
They'd be a 5. They'd be the 5 playing as well.
Indiana.
That's going to happen, I think, more now because of the NIL.
Oh, dude.
Where the rightful teams are not going to get in certain spots because of this weird-ass scheduling shit. Also, I'm sorry, I hate these schedules in advance. You need to wait till recruiting is over and really assess a team of what you think that money, NIL, how much money are we putting out on them? Where they came from. Like, you have to do these. To me, you have to deep dive into Michigan is not going to be good this year. We might have them ranked at 10 because of last year, what they did. They are not the same. Then you have to like it. Because I think what's happened is Indiana is surprising everyone. Now, this might not even happen because Indiana can go get their ass whooped to Ohio State. But I just think that you have to truly assess people and give out rightful schedules. That's going to happen. The Texas situation, the SEC and the Big Ten, we don't need the ACC or the Pac to be on, or the Big 12 anymore.
Right.
Like that. I think 2 to 3 teams from each one will get in, and that's going to piss off everybody else. Because six of the spots to me are Big Ten and SEC, no matter what.
Yeah.
And then after that, the other 6 is an ACC champion, a Big 12 champion. So then that leaves 4.
Yeah.
There's 4 spots that can still fit another Big Ten or an SEC. And then you're going to have to give an Army a shot, or a Boise or a BYU.
I think a lot will happen in the next 5 weeks, and it'll all sort itself out. So,
all right. Well, real quick, you're an NFL guy too, right? I do have some games.
Love the NFL.
Okay, so I have some games. Okay. We don't have to dig in. It's just pick'ems.
Yeah. Let's do it.
NFL, I'm 24-11 overall.
Quick. Let's do it.
Yep. Miami at Buffalo. Buffalo laying 6.5. We only picked this because I'm a Buffalo fan.
Buffalo minus 6.5.
Yep, I say Buffalo wins
At Miami.
at Buffalo.
Buffalo, I like it.
I think Buffalo randomly is going to be one of the better teams.
It is a divisional game.
It is. It's just really strange because I was not expecting. I just wanted to make the playoffs as a Buffalo fan because we've lost so much.
Oh, dude, Buffalo's good.
This year they actually look really good.
I like Buffalo. Off the top of my head, Buffalo minus 6.
Yep.
Sounds good.
Detroit -3 at Green Bay.
Yes.
I'm picking Detroit.
Yes.
I just believe in them.
-3 at Green Bay. Jordan Love, 50-50 on him starting. I think Detroit's offense is legit. I would take that -3 and them to win the game by a lot.
Denver at Baltimore. -9 here for Baltimore.
I like the points, believe it or not. Baltimore coming off a bad loss.
And they just traded.
Who'd they trade?
Deontay Johnson from Carolina is now a Baltimore Raven.
Okay.
Wide receiver. They needed a little help.
Okay.
Also, did you see that Stephon Diggs tore ACL? He's out.
Oh, no.
He's done.
Okay, so that makes sense why the Texans are getting 2.5 points on Thursday.
Stephon's
I was wondering. I was like, what in the world? Yeah, so I like Denver +9 there. I know that's probably not the popular pick, but that's a lot of points in the NFL.
Bucks at Kansas City. Kansas City -8.
Hard to bet against Mahomes, man.
It's also hard because the Bucks lost everybody.
Yeah. Hard to bet against Mahomes. That would be a game that I would look at like a over-under.
Okay. Dallas at Atlanta, 2.5 for Atlanta. I picked Dallas. I don't know why.
At Atlanta, I would go Atlanta -2.5.
I believe in Atlanta.
Yeah.
But I have all favorites picked. And I'm like, I like to pick somebody in the NFL. None of the time, like it's never happened where all the favorites win in the week.
Yeah. I would like Atlanta at -2.5. I think Kirk Cousins is good. Dallas, they're struggling right now, man.
Yeah.
They're struggling. But yeah.
All right, brother. So this was our pick'em section, Adam's first ever episode here.
Yeah,
but we
man.
do a thing that Jordan, what I really like is like a mental check-in that this is where most people actually kind of pay attention to. Minus our hog talk.
Yeah.
We do a how you really doing. And so it's just a mental check-in, see where you're at mentally. You can talk about anything going on, what you just did, anything at all, mentally if you're in a good space, bad space. So how are you really doing, brother?
Man, I'm good. I can't complain. You know, I am right where I need to be in life, and I think that's very important. I've always been the kind of guy where, you know, I'm not looking forward too far. I don't look too far behind me. I just I stay where I'm at mentally. You know, wherever I'm at, and I'm doing good, man. I'm dating a great girl, and that's going really well. I started dating her last year, and everything's going really well. She's a sweetheart. Love my job. You know, trying to figure out, you know, what I want to do as far as there's some voids in my life that I love competing. I love a job that you know, there's more, there's levels up, right? And I thought about getting into coaching, man, like coaching football. That's something that I've talked.
That's a passion of mine as well.
Me and Alex, my girlfriend, we've talked about, you know, me maybe potentially getting into that, and I feel like that's something I'd be good at, something I would enjoy. So, but yeah, man, everything's good. Spiritual, mental, physical, doing well. I'm not in the gym as much these days, and that's kind of tough. It's different for me because I'm so used to being in the gym
every day
and training. You know, a lot of people work out. Well, that's not what I do. I train, and it's different. Some people understand it, some people don't. You understand it.
Yes,
but I'm not doing that anymore, and that's different for me. I've done that for the past 4 or 5 years.
So you're not going to go for the games next year, or is it still?
I am. This is like the meat of the off season.
Yeah.
So
I'm just relaxing.
I'm just relaxing. Yeah, man.
You haven't ever done that. Really.
I've never done that. No, and I think that creates burnout when you do that.
Yes, for sure.
Mentally and physically. But yeah, man, I can't complain, man. I've got a lot of things that I look forward to, and in the future. But yeah, man, I'm good.
Yeah,
I appreciate this part of the podcast because a lot of people, you know, they don't like to talk about the softer side of things. But yeah, it's really good to
Jordan is I'm the person who used to be like, F your feelings, let's just talk.
Yeah.
Jordan's the softy
it's
around
hard
here.
for guys.
It is. Not because we don't want to, it's because we don't know how to.
Right.
And we're just taught our whole life to not talk about it. To just keep working and you're fine. But Jordan is a softy. He was raised by all women, and and he just has a sensitive side that I very much enjoy because it's like a balance.
Right.
But
yeah, I have 3 sisters. all of them younger. No brothers. So I was around girls all my life. So I know how to be soft and get into feelings and stuff. But yeah, man, I love that part. How are you doing? That's the question.
I'm good, man. I'm good. We have a wedding in 3.5 weeks.
Cool deal, man.
Yeah, I've been together 6 years, so it's long overdue. But I've been good. Last week I told everybody I've never in my life had to battle with these. You ever had a panic attack or an anxiety attack?
Yeah, I have.
I've only had a couple in my life, and ever since my bachelor trip, I had one every day for about a week and a half.
Really?
It was really strange. They were different.
Yeah.
The chest like tightness and the squeezing.
Yeah.
Couldn't catch my breath. After a workout, I like sat there. I was good. I went to the store and literally like I called my mom. I was like, I'm not here to freak out, but like I feel like I'm about to pass out. Like this whole world is like
the mom seems to be the person to call.
Oh yeah, I call mom every day.
Yeah.
And then I had one. We went golfing, which is like my relaxing time.
Mm-hmm.
The best thing I explained it is when you put your camera on and then put 0.5. Like everything was really far away. It was zoomed out. I was so zoned out. I felt like I was high, but I wasn't.
Yeah.
But for the past week, Carrie's been crazy supportive, and my prayer life has changed. My eating habits, drinking water a lot more, like paying attention to it.
Yeah.
And then just relaxing, like trying to breathe. And then I'm telling you, as a spiritual for me was the biggest connector.
Right.
I was already kind of eating somewhat healthy, drinking a lot of my stuff, like changing those things because of the wedding. She was like, how's your prayer life? And then I just started praying more. And I've been solid for a couple of days, like 4 or 5 days, which was rare. But I'm doing great. Wedding's coming up. I'm not looking forward to the big things that happen at the wedding. That's where my anxiety is coming from. Not seeing my dad there in the front row and seeing a picture. My mom and me being together and like them two not being there. It's just, I'm not looking forward to that. That's something that in my head, I see that more than I see the good, which is tough.
Yeah. I think that's a lot of times that's anxiety, you know.
Yeah.
You look at a glass half empty.
Yeah.
But, you know, I know the Bible says that God gives you peace that passes all understanding. And that's good that you have a prayer life, man. And I think it's good to be aware that you have to have a relationship with the Lord in order to, to have that peace sometimes. But yeah, I mean, my experience with anxiety is short.
Same.
I've had people that.
Mine's recent.
Yeah, I have people that struggle with it in my life that it's more apparent. But I try to sympathize with them.
For sure. And, I just tried to understand it. And I never did. Now I get it.
Right.
To where you can't control it.
Right.
And then for me, I'm a problem solution guy. So if you give me a problem, I try my best to find 100 ways to fix it.
Oh yeah.
I can't find the solution to why I'm feeling this way because I feel good.
I think it's funny because you mentioned how you eat, how you sleep, how you your prayer life, all this stuff, and really when you connect all of those things and they're all going well, you hardly ever have an anxiety attack.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you just got but you can't like.
But guys are such a forward. We want to fix it, and I'm like you. When I have something on my mind, and I know it's gonna bother me, or this is gonna, it will rest there for a long time.
Yes, unless I can find
the solution. Yeah, and I want to fix it now.
Yes, I'll sit there and think about it all day until I figure it out.
Yeah,
and so it's either out of sight, out of mind, or let's do this now. And I can't.
And that's where sports comes in for me. I know we joke about over-unders and all this kind of stuff and golf and blah blah blah. But sports for me is a way to that's my mind to just.
That's what I think a lot of people don't pay attention to is your life is a gift and it's not meant to just work and do all this stuff and like wake up and you're 60 and you finally get your life back for the next 10 to 15 years and you're gone.
Yeah.
You have to find those pockets.
That's something that I'm struggling with right now, honestly, is what's my purpose as far as a job? You want to have a job. You want to have, I have a degree and everything, I've done the right things, I guess, in order to have success, but it's like, I don't want to wake up every day and hate my job. I
think you're going to run into that no matter what. I think passion, it wears out eventually, and then it is just a job. I think it's anything you do. I have the same situation, though. So, like, full transparency, like, I was married and divorced. As I was going through my divorce 7-8 years ago, I was a bug man, hated my life, hated everything I was doing. I walked into one of these stores, fell in love with the people.
Yeah.
And so now I'm 5 years past it. I've opened this store for 3 years. Our lease is up next year. I'm 34. I'll be 35. Just recently married. I want to have kids. I have to weigh if this is going to financially be okay for our family.
Yeah, yeah.
And so next November, I'm hoping that it is. But if it's not, I'm going to be 35 years old with no degree, trying to figure out what I'm supposed to do.
Degree is overrated.
It is, but trying to figure out what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah.
My buddy Austin would tell you I'm going to be a firefighter. That's what he wants me to be. I told him if I have to shave the mullet, go F himself.
You will have to shave the mullet.
I don't.
I have tried.
You
to
ready
be
for
the
this?
firefighter.
You ready for this? He texted me just the other day and said, we're hiring in Maumelle. We have a new chief, and he said that I could keep the mullet as long as it met criteria. Like I would have to.
You would probably have to just shave it or just chop it off a little bit.
That's what he said. As long as I tamed it, but I don't know. I don't know if I want to do that. I don't want broken.
I would say, man, I've looked into the firefighter. I've tried.
I don't know if I want to do it,
and
I think it'd be cool.
I don't think you want to do it until you start doing it.
Right, because it's not fighting fires for the most part. It's car crashes most of the time.
You see some things
and health issues and people on overdosing and just wildness. And I don't know if I want to be a part of that. But I've thought about the coaching as well. My buddy is a coach. He's a junior high basketball coach, been doing it since, and he loves it. He is trying to be a principal now, though. Because for him,
a lot of them do. A lot of them say, well, the money's in the principal, superintendent, athletic director.
Well, not only that, the freedom. Because as a coach, he has 2 kids, and he misses a lot of that because up in the morning, driving the buses. And when you're not, when football season's not on, you're helping the basketball program, the baseball program. So you are a nonstop 24/7 coach everywhere. And that has negated his family, in which he's trying to be a principal. So it's pros and cons, I think, no matter what.
Yeah.
And I think that if you have the passion, it will burn out eventually, but it's going to be on you to decide if it's worth it for you because it has to feed your soul.
Yep.
But
all right.
It's a good how you're really doing. He's got to go coach a class here for CrossFit. I'll probably
see you there.
5:30. Yeah, probably 5:30. So, guys, that's going to do it for episode 27 of the We'll See You Later podcast, brought to you by Happy's Energy and Nutrition. 3 things to live by before you go. 1, don't piss into the wind. 2, Hogs by 90. And 3, most importantly, never, ever trust a fart. Until next time, guys, we'll see you later.